Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking a phenomenon the industry has dubbed the silver split.
Yeah, it sounds like a breakdancing move.
Or maybe, I don't know, a surprisingly expensive cocktail. But it is actually a massive structural shift happening in the UK housing market right now.
Right.
So the core question we are answering for you today is pretty counterintuitive. If you are a wealthy retiree, is it actually smarter to rent than to buy?
Which is a really controversial idea, especially here in a country completely obsessed with the property ladder.
Exactly. And to get to the bottom of it, we pulled data from the London Property Digest, Standard Life, Knight Frank, and the Land Registry.
Basically trying to decode why the boomer wealth machine is starting to sputter.
Right. Our mission is to figure out why that machine, which powered the economy for decades, is shifting, and why the smart money might be moving away from home ownership in later life.
We really have to start with the sheer scale of that wealth, though, to set the context for you.
Because the numbers are wild. Between 1975 and 2025, the UK housing market rose 25-fold.
25 times, yeah.
Consequently, the over 60s now sit on roughly £2.89 trillion in housing wealth. They hold 56% of all owner-occupied homes.
And about 3/4 of them own those homes outright. No mortgage.
Zero.
For 50 years, the strategy was just simple. You buy a house, watch it appreciate, and pass it on. But the economic environment has completely changed. Price growth is stagnating at maybe 1 to 2%, and GDP is sluggish.
The asset simply is not performing like it used to.
Exactly.
But even if growth is slow, you still own the asset. It is security. Why would anyone sell a paid-off house just to become a tenant again?
Because of the liquidity trap. You can be asset rich, but cash poor. When you hit your 80s, your biggest liability isn't a mortgage anymore, it is care costs.
Which are huge. Living care is running £1,200 to £1,800 a week, right?
Right, and nursing homes are pushing $90,000 a year.
And you cannot pay a nurse with a brick.
You really can't. And if you need to sell to access that cash, you are completely at the mercy of the market. Rightmove data shows specialist retirement units take an average of 9.3 months to sell.
That is a long time to burn through cash waiting for a buyer.
It is.
Okay, that explains the need for cash flow. But I have to push back here because I looked at the Standard Life data for London, and the math for renting looks terrible.
How so?
They calculate that a retiree renting in London needs roughly £833,000 more in savings than an owner over a 20-year period.
Oh, and Knight Frank actually puts that delta over £1 million.
All right. So surely that ends the debate. Buying obviously wins.
If you just look at monthly outgoings on a spreadsheet, yes, renting loses, but that spreadsheet assumes you live there for 20 years, and it ignores the hidden costs of ownership in this specific sector, particularly exit fees.
Let us define that for you listening. We aren't talking about standard stamp duty here.
No, we are talking about integrated retirement communities, or IRCs.
Yeah.
These are high-end developments with care facilities on site. When you buy into one, the contract often stipulates that when you leave or pass away, you pay a fee of up to 30% of the property value back to the operator.
30%. That is a massive chunk of equity just vanishing.
It changes the calculus completely. And here is the crucial data point. The average stay in an IRC is only 7.4 years.
Wow. Only 7 years.
Yeah. If you buy, pay stamp duty, pay service charges, and then get hit with a 30% exit fee after only a short stay, ownership becomes incredibly expensive.
So for a shorter timeline, renting, even at a huge premium, might actually preserve more of your capital.
That is the logic. It is exactly why you see developments like Arian's Chelsea charging £29,000 a month for rent.
$29,000 a month.
They aren't just selling an apartment, they are selling flexibility.
Yeah.
Keep your capital invested in the market, generating a return rather than locking it into a depreciating lease.
That requires a massive cultural shift, though. For a generation used to 5% annual growth, renting usually signals financial failure.
The stigma is very real. But the data shows the mindset is shifting. Private renting among the over 65s is up 1/3 since 2009.
And predictions say it will triple by 2041, hitting 17%.
Exactly.
So why does this matter to you if you are listening and you aren't 80 years old yet? Why should a 30-year-old care if boomers rent?
Because boomers hold the family homes. If they feel trapped by the choice between staying put or a bad value buy, they don't move. The market stagnates.
But if renting becomes a viable, socially acceptable option, they sell the 4-bedroom house.
Which improves liquidity for everyone. More large family houses hit the market. but it leads to a very provocative endgame.
Go on.
If the trend moves toward renting and housing growth stays low while care costs rise, does the inheritance economy die?
Meaning the money gets spent on lifestyle and liquidity instead of saved.
Right. If retirees spend their equity to pay rent and care bills, that 2.89 trillion does not trickle down to the next generation.
It just gets absorbed by the service sector.
The bank of mom and dad might be closing down permanently.
That is a sobering thought for anyone relying on a future windfall. We are moving from a world where property was an infinite piggy bank to one where it's an illiquid asset you spend to survive.
It is a whole new era.
Something for you to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the silver split.
See you next time.